Welcome back to my new YouTube channel, Torrance Jane. It's me, Tori, and happy Sunday, you guys. This is where we discuss all things insurance, and this week we are going to be discussing the history of medical insurance and the history of dental insurance. So I hope everyone's had a good week and weekend, and let's just start it off, right? So medical insurance is very vast and very long, and there's so much history out there based off of the different insurance companies, really. And basically what we're going to discuss is very, very short compared to all of the history that's out there. But I'm basically going to give you how the private sector insurance became a thing in our country in a nutshell. So in the 1920s, hospitals started to see that their beds were not being filled. The reason you went to the hospital back then was because basically you're going to die, right? You didn't go there to get cured. You didn't go there for an antibiotic. It wasn't something that if you were sick, you would go in. You would only go there if you were on your deathbed, and those were going to be your last days. But hospitals started to lose money. So they had to come up with a way to get patients back into their doors, essentially, and fill their beds. So in the 1920s, the Baylor Hospital in Dallas, Texas, they approached a group of teachers in Dallas and basically gave them an offer. They said that if you pay us 50 cents per month, only 50 cents per month, that is insane, which I know with inflation is not what it is now, but 50 cents per month, we will in turn pick up the tabs on the hospital bill if you have to come to the hospital. Sounds like a great plan, right? It was genius. They all signed on, they said yes, and then it expanded and it created what we know today as Blue Cross Blue Shield. Crazy. Something so simple evolved into this massive company. Now, by World War II, employers were needing to ramp up production for various things for the war. But they needed employees, and they had to come up with a plan to attract employees to work for them. Because a lot of the men were overseas for the war, they had to really attract women to work for them. So what they did was they started offering health plans through that employer, through whatever company they worked for, to attract women to give them health insurance for them and their children. This eventually evolved into what we know as the private insurance sector today. Crazy. That's it in a nutshell. Now, Medicaid and Medicare are entirely different, and I will dive into those one day, but those are its own video, essentially. Now, the history of dental insurance is a little bit more interesting, but you're gonna find out why it's such bullshit, because it hasn't really changed today. So in 1954, labor unions in California wanted to add dental as a fringe benefit for their families, mostly for their kids. So this created the California, Oregon, and Washington Dental Services, also known now what we call them is Delta Dental. Delta Dental eventually bought them. By 1963, nearly 7,000 dentists had joined the California Dental Service, and it had expanded and covered more than 200,000 people by this point. So in just 9 years, there was over 200,000 people just in California alone that were covered with dental insurance. That's pretty good. Now, this is where we find out why dental insurance is such bullshit, you guys. By the 1970s, plans started to realize that they needed to have a cap on coverage, and they needed to have patients pay a deductible. So this is where our annual maximums and the annual deductibles come in. Now, by the 1970s, the annual maximum was set anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, depending on how much you paid your insurance company. Sound familiar? It hasn't changed. It has been the same exact type of dental plan that we know today, 50 years later. And that is the biggest reason why dental insurance is such bullshit. So eventually these plans became PPOs, which stands for Preferred Provider Organization. And what that means is that a dentist says, I will sign up and I will have a contract with, let's just use Delta Dental of Oregon for an example. Dentist A says, I will sign up for Delta Dental of Oregon, and I will gladly give these lower fees to my patients, but in turn, I want access to your patients who have these plans. Basically, they did a trade. I'll provide lower fees to my patients, but I want access to those list of patients so that I can grow my business. that's what that is. Now, by the 1980s, a new plan started to emerge called the DHMO, or Dental Health Maintenance Organizations. Now, these created an entirely different plan. They had a lower cost to the consumer, and they didn't offer annual maximums, and they did not have annual deductibles. However, you as a consumer had to choose a dentist that was part of the DHMO network. So dentist B says, yes, I will gladly sign up for this DHMO plan, in turn to have access to those patients. The caveat to this is that DHMOs pay substantially less to the dentists for those same services. So dentist A submits a claim for basic cleaning, right, for their patient. They get a reimbursement of $90. Dentist B submits the same claim for their patient for the same cleaning, but they only get a reimbursement between $30 and $50 depending on the dental insurance. That's a huge gap for any dental company. Now, bigger companies usually take DHMOs, and the reason is because they have such a large pool of patients that they want to be able to have access to all the patients, essentially. But smaller companies tend to just focus on fee-for-service or their own usual and customary fees, or PPOs, which gives them a higher reimbursement level, but they still get access to a bunch of patients so that they can grow their business. That's the difference between those. One of the many questions I get asked from patients, as I've been in dental for, I don't know, about 8-9 years now, I get asked a lot, why is my dental insurance and my medical insurance, why are they separate? And the funny thing is that the biggest reason why they're separate dates back all the way to the 1800s, right? Back in the 1800s, they did try at one point to merge medical and dental schools. They tried to merge these. They tried to get them to kind of be all in one, where you're a full body doctor essentially, right? Dentists though said, absolutely not. We want to be professionally independent. We don't want to merge. And that is why still today, why our dental and medical, why they're so separate. Now, I'm really passionate about making sure people understand their insurance, right, and their benefits. But it's super important that we understand that it's unfortunate that dental is separate, right? But it is super important that we understand that our oral cavity, our mouth, our teeth, our gums are the gateway to the rest of our body. There are about 800,000 people per year that go to the emergency room for dental related issues. Now that is just, it's ridiculous. It's a lot. And it's because people are either scared to go to the dentist. They don't have the money to go to the dentist. Dental's not cheap, and sometimes they don't have dental insurance. It could also just be because their dentist is closed or whatever. However, 800,000 people go to the emergency room every year because of health or dental related issues. And I'm hoping by the time I leave this planet, it will have merged a little bit. But just keep in mind that your oral health is just as important to your overall body and your overall health as anything else. So if you are making a checkup for your doctor, please make a checkup with a dentist. If you don't have a dentist, find a good one in your area, talk to your friends and your family, and try to find a good dentist in your area to go to, because it's just as important. Thank you guys for coming. That's my episode today, talking dental insurance and medical insurance history. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Happy Sunday!